fun, ladies and gentlemen. We've had some Q&As that have been happening all throughout the weekend, and we brought up three gentlemen that are about to share some of their great and expansive knowledge. Please welcome Alan Gilmore, Art Director for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Michael Aiello, Director of Entertainment Creative Development, Universal Orlando's Art and Design Team, and Patrick Braillard, Show Director, Universal Orlando's Art and Design Team, and apparently a Seahawks fan.
Go Seahawks! Which Quidditch team is that?
What is this weird game you guys play?
Yeah, I was talking to Alan backstage, and he asked me what the Super Bowl was, and I said, well, it's like the World Cup, but we don't invite anybody else. Yeah, my Chudley Cannon jersey is dirty, so I'm just going to sit here and cross my fingers and hope for the best. Well, good luck tonight. Thank you.
Yes, good luck. So let's start things out on topic, if we could. I'm sure it'll go multiple directions, but what were your roles in bringing the Wizarding World to life? Patrick, we'll start with the end.
What involves with bringing it to life? Blood, sweat, and tears. I think the most important thing that I can impart, if I can impart anything, is that when you work on anything creative having to do with the saga surrounding Harry Potter, is that you want to get it right. You want to pay homage and pay honor to it. So as far as starting anything, the first place you start with is what's best for the story. What's going to be the best telling, or what's going to be the best shading to this amazing world that's already been created. That obviously everybody here loves, and we want to do our best to bring to life. What did you do? What did you do with the land? What did I do? I was the show director and the writer for all of the shows and stage stuff. So, yeah. So for Madame Malkin's robes, we did the mirror. For the Wizarding Wireless Network, we did all the voiceover work in that. The Night Bus Conductor, Shrunken Head, Busker, both the stage shows, and the Goblin. So, big task, but it was a lot of fun.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm Director of Creative Development for Universal Orlando, so I'm the guy that gets to, thank you. I'm the guy that gets to lead the teams, Patrick, and all of the amazing artists and scenic designers and prop makers, and all the costume designers, everybody that was involved in the process of bringing all of the entertainment content to life, not only in Diagon Alley, but also in our Hogsmeade Park as well. The Frog Choir and the Triwizard Spirit Rally, way back. So in total, Patrick and I have been involved with the Wizarding World since 2006, 2007, bringing Hogsmeade to life, and then all the entertainment content you see now in the amazing Diagon Alley.
Alan.
Hey guys, hello, welcome to Orlando Stadium. Thank you all for coming. My name's Alan. I'm the supervising art director for Warner Brothers. I was very lucky to work with these great guys to help translate the films into a theme park, into an entertainment world where you can actually come and experience it, because my career is all about being film set design, working with an amazing team in London and also working with an amazing team here in Florida, many of them standing over here to the left with their arms up. Film sets are a place you see only in a theatre or on a DVD. You can't actually experience them. So to learn the art of translating those film sets into a real three-dimensional environment has been an amazing journey. My job has been to help Warner Brothers and Universal work together and to translate the amazing films into the places you can now visit. Hogsmeade, Hogwarts, and Diagon Alley. And I'm sure you'll say they're amazing places. We love creating them. I think you all love them. I've spoken to many of you the last few days. It's fabulous in there. It's a great world. And thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Alan, as well. Now, here's a question for everybody. What should the entertainment show content bring to the Wizarding World? Talk about the entertainment that's involved.
Obviously, Alan and the amazing Universal Creative team built this vivid world in real life with Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade. And we come in kind of later into the game after the environments have been established, where we try and kind of fit into what's been created, these amazing worlds that Alan and the team created. And entertainment should really, not only is the environment bringing that world to life, but we want to also be able to bring a personal aspect to the world. And entertainment, we're able to do that. For Hogsmeade, the Frog Choir, music is so essential in the films. John Williams' amazing score, and the other composers that have been, doing all the amazing scores for all the Harry Potter films. Music is essential to those movies, so we wanted to figure out a way to bring that to the land. And obviously, like in Azkaban, there was already a scene kind of pre-built that had music. A choir that had these frogs that provided all the bass notes. And our job is to try and sift through all of this amazing content and find these kernels that we can take away and expand upon. Frog Choir being a perfect example, saying, okay, we want to create a show where we can have a choir with frogs that actually sing for our guests 365 days a year. Same with Tri-Wizard Spirit Rally. How can we show that aspect of Goblet of Fire? And also for the guests that, because believe it or not, there are people that come to the parks that may have never seen a Harry Potter film.
No.
Or there may be people out here who have never seen a Harry Potter movie. Maybe. I doubt it. But we have to be able to present an entertainment experience that is that bridges the gaps, that can show that the Wizarding World is far larger than just Hogsmeade. The Beauxbaton Academy of Magic and the Durmstrang Institute. These are schools that exist outside of the Wizarding World that we've created here. So that was a great opportunity to do that. So entertainment, in a nutshell, really, we have a chance to expand on the content, to provide a personal relationship with the guest. I mean, Diagon Alley, look at the Celestina Warbeck show. I mean, that is really a dynamite show, and there's so many people involved with how that got created. But to be able to provide that personal experience, and music is, I think, one of the most, the easiest ways to be able to interact with an audience.
I would completely agree. And if you spend any time in Diagon, which I'm sure all of you have, the Beetle the Bard show has it has an underscoring from the films throughout the entire telling of those tales, both in the introductory section where the characters are just being themselves, as well as when they launch into the tales. And it's very important that music is there, because without that music, so crafted by John Williams, it wouldn't have a payoff. It just wouldn't. Those tales would not go where they go without having that backing.
Well, and go back a little bit, that we kind of fit ourselves into the world that has been created in the films that Alan helped bring to life in the movies, but also here in the parks. We're a piece of that, but really we rely on Alan and his vision and the team that he takes on to really give us that home.
And it's been an amazing journey to, as I say, start back in 2006, 2007, when the Hogsmeade and Hogwarts were conceived, and the Universal teams and Warner Brothers UK teams joined together to create the design that you see now that is Hogsmeade and Hogwarts. We spent a lot of time trying to make the most immersive word. That's a theme park word, but it became our global word to make the experience as personal as possible. So we used the British film teams, the Orlando design teams. We all joined together. A large team traveled to London. They were immersed in the filmmaking as the final films were being made. So we wanted them to be as seamless as possible, so that when you read the books, when you watch the films, and when you visit the park, it's all the same experience. At that time I met Michael and Patrick, and we really started joining forces to develop these concepts. How do we go beyond the words, the pictures you form in your mind, and make that a real experience? And I think it's been an amazing collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's awesome to be here with you. Thank you.
And really, thank you, and thank all of you out there. And I think you have a couple of slides that we can kind of advance to and talk about some concepts. Let's bring up your next slide there.
Sure.
And I know there's so much that we could talk about. So, let's look at, if we could bring up the next slide there. There we go. So there's first Braillard, and of course this is an example of some of the designs and the detail that went into that. Just explain a little bit about that process.
Well, Beetle the Bard was a very interesting journey. Beetle was actually a concept that we had come up with for Hogsmeade originally. And it wasn't based on Beetle the Bard. It was kind of the concept of a troupe of storytellers that would be able to kind of tell some of the stories that exist within the Wizarding world. And at that time, and we presented, I think, 15 to 20 concepts back in 2007 of just entertainment concepts. And this one bubbled to the surface a bit, and then it just didn't feel right for Hogsmeade, because there was nothing in the fiction that supported the idea that there is a troupe, that even exists, that tells these stories, and whether or not they were able to tell intimate stories about Harry Potter and Hermione and Ron, because we're, as fans, can watch these movies and are very intimate with those relationships, but the people of the Wizarding world, not necessarily. They're not there when Harry, Ron, and Hermione battle the troll in the bathroom. They weren't there for that. They may have heard it kind of hearsay. So we can't really attach something like that. We have to attach to things that are more global, more recognizably known in the Wizarding world. That concept fell off the table. That is until J.K. Rowling wrote Tales of Beetle the Bard.
Absolutely. One of the wonderful things about that book is a small, tiny passage at the beginning of Fountain of Fair Fortune's description by Albus Dumbledore when it talks about the Wizarding Academy of Dramatic Arts. Professor Beery broke away as after the horrible rendition of Fountain at Hogwarts, which means that Hogwarts never put another play on. And we kind of used that as the catalyst, the seed for the entire justification for the WADA troupe to be out in Diagon Alley. I remember we were talking to Warner Brothers, and we were talking to my partnership, and they just couldn't get past the fact that there was this roaming troupe. There was this roaming troupe out there, and they had no basis for inside the fiction. And one of the things that you have to do when you do something like this is not only make it immersive and personal, but it has to live up to the saga and live within that world. There's no such thing as lateral content, which is a huge thing with us. And so I remember the conference call we were on when they said, yeah, but there's no basis for this. And we said, but there's this passage about the Wizarding Academy of Dramatic Arts. And immediately the door opened and we were able to dive into the world and fit ourselves into this entire saga. As far as the puppets are concerned, when you watch the show, you can see that the puppets are the puppets from 7.1. They are the puppets from the film. We had the opportunity and the great fortune to have Warner Brothers send us all of the concept drawings throughout the course of the building of Movie 7 Part 1 and give us all of the pictures of the puppets for us to use as the basis for the live puppetry that you now see in Diagon Alley. And it was fun to then take those pictures and send them back to them and say, this is what we're doing. It was a lot of fun.
And the task is, too, with anything that we're creating, is how can we tell the story, any of the stories, Beetle, being the example here, is how can we tell them differently? How can we be very visual? Currently, in our theme parks, we really don't have anything that is a puppet-based show. So right away, we felt this was really an avenue we should go down because it is so different from anything else we currently have at Universal Orlando. And to be able to tell something very intimate. That's the other thing that's great about the design of Diagon is it is a very intimate location. It has a sophistication to it, but still an area of commerce.
I think we tried to bring a scale, a very European scale to Diagon that's very intimate, as you say, that the spaces are tight, they're compressive, they're very emotional, and the show space where your shows are performed is very typical of what you find in England or London, in that kind of old London Victorian market where these impromptu street performers would appear. And it's got the layer of Harry Potter where it's a little bit more magical, a little bit more interesting. I think you guys did an amazing job of understanding those film concepts and bringing them to life, because at that point your design was almost influencing the film as well, and we were collaborating with each other. So it's a very symbiotic relationship where we were all traveling in the same direction, which is the first time I've ever known that to happen.
So as far as the environment was concerned for the puppets and the show, how did the design work out for that particular environment?
Well, we worked very closely with Universal Creative to, there's a lot of science behind theme park design. There's the flow of people, where people can hang out, where they can get food, all the basics. But then you want to create spaces that you can be entertained in, places you can hang out. You also want to create places that are just like you went on a vacation to a lovely old town. Where can I go? Where can I just sit and eat some food and enjoy and relax? I do that at Diagon Alley all the time. I was there all day yesterday, hanging around in the dark corners, watching people like I would when I go on vacation. And it was fascinating to watch people really living the place, watching your shows, really enjoying it, and then going to the hopping pot maybe for a pint of ale or some food, and then going around to Ollivander's to get their one fitting. The place felt absolutely real, and your shows are integral to that because they bring that layer of reality to the whole experience of Diagon Alley.
And telling the environment was so vivid, we knew we had to do the same sort of detail in the puppets and how they were created. We worked with an amazing puppeteer, creator named Michael Curry. If you've seen the Olympics opening ceremony in the last 15, 20 years, you've seen some of his work. He's an amazing individual, has an amazing group of people that create really dynamic puppets and puppetry. So we worked with him and collaborated to create the puppets for Diagon Alley, for Beetle the Bard. And the slide we have up right now, this was some of the concept of some of those puppets. These were videos that we would send back and forth over months and months and months, trying to figure out the best way for these puppets to maneuver, knowing that not only do they have to look like the film, but also need to be ergonomically designed so that a performer can use them 365 a year, 5 to 7 shows a day. We're making sure that our performers are comfortable with the puppets and that they're at a weight and a puppeteering level that is realistic.
And then what you're seeing right here is Dan Luce. He works for Michael Curry Designs. He was the chief creator of all of the puppets, and also he came for an intensive workshop with all of the actors as they prepared to put the show on, so that all of them could not only learn to breathe with their puppets, but also that the puppets would be the focus of the stories. I don't know about you, but when I go to watch that show, as many times as I've seen it, as soon as they start telling the tale, the actors disappear, and it's the best thing that it's the best feeling in the world to know that I was honored to be a part of it, that I was allowed to be a part of it, because once you see this beautiful set that's been given to us, this beautiful backdrop of this real-world environment that's just a little bit fantastic, which is what the Wizarding World is, and then you have these puppets which just pop off the characters.
Puppets become alive, they're their own characters, they really are. I saw the exact same thing yesterday. Watching the puppets, I was absolutely engrossed in their caricature faces, their drama, their handmade look. They really are rather beautiful, and Curry did an amazing job.
And the best thing about it is we're coming at this, because as with everything that we create, we're fans of this first. And we put out there what we would think a fan would want to see. And that's really important as the first step in anyone that works on this project, is we're fans of this brand and really want to put it in the best light possible, and in a fashion that you can't see anywhere else. And I know, Alan, you were talking about the environment. There's a slide here that's the white model.
Yeah, this is the set design we created in London early on to form the size of the space, and you see the characters there, little black cutout figures. We always work in a very true architectural sense. We want to make it feel that the place is absolutely real. We're not going to exaggerate or create this modern environment. This has to feel like old London, and I think that space feels very natural. It's a natural setting. It's a very nice background. It's very much a focal point under the Carpet Market, and it really does feel rather special.
And this was designed and created by Ray Kine, who's in the audience. He's right over there. He put that thing together. And this was a great tool for us to be able to actually block the show Beetle before the stage was even built. It was a way for Patrick and the team to be able to kind of foresee what this show could be, even using some of the props that are on stage right now. And those are actually performers from our Frog Choir way back, and we used as cutouts. Those aren't the costumes that are out there now.
A little interesting segue is the technology we use is very simple. It's cardboard. It's very basic. To any of you aspiring designers out there, any material works for design. You can create these forms and designs with anything. So don't be worried about having to use computers. We use those as well. We use all types of technology, but at the end of the day, you're creating a design which can be realized through any material. So this is a very good example of that.
And I have a question for you, Alan. And then it's something that you really brought to us in the creation of the shows. The vision of the films, and for Diagon Alley, what was it? What makes it special and unique to the Wizarding World compared to other environments in the Wizarding World?
I think it's a very rigorous attention to detail. It's very real. Everything feels absolutely real, but there's a heightened reality. That's a term that Stuart Craig coined many years ago, where it feels natural, just like any street, but there's something extra about it. The extra lean of the buildings, the extra colours, Mina Lima's graphic designs. There's that extra layer of an extra reality, which all these fantastic layerings of teams together creates this very special environment, very unique. Your show has the same feel, whereas there's that extra degree more in the Harry Potter vein, and that Harry Potter draws that extra layer out of all of us.
There he is. Well, speaking of characters and everything that had gone into those, there's one particular one that we'd like to kind of expand on. Talk to us about Celestina and how she became from a single line into your reality.
Well, I mean, Mike touched on a little bit earlier with the fact that music is so integral into the Wizarding World and the telling of the stories. And so Celestina, just from that one small little sentence in book 2 that we glommed onto and wanted to bridge that and make her more.
We wanted to find out more about her.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was fascinating during the course of creating what became Celestina and the Banshees. Her background vocalists, we got thrown little tidbits here and there from JK's camp that, she had in her mind Shirley Bassey, which is an amazing reference for those of you that are jazz vocalist fans out there. But then we wanted to put not only Shirley Bassey, but we wanted it to be a little Lena Horne, and we wanted it to be a little bit Bette Midler, and we wanted it to We wanted her to have this weight and this diva-esque quality to her so that she could provide a counterpoint, if you will, to the Beetle experience. Because as intimate as Beetle is, and as wonderful as those stories are, they're dark. Beetle the Bard does not pull punches. He tells dark stories, and the Wizarding World children that have grown up hearing those stories just accept it as if our children accept Grimm's fairy tales, or they accept Aesop, which are also really dark if you go back and read them. So we wanted to have a counterpoint with Celestina where she's light and bubbly and fun, and she's got this attitude about her that it's really second to none. It's a lot of fun to go out there and just watch her and listen to her.
And JK had supplied us with song titles, and then and there were also tidbits of song lyrics that had been created throughout the years. Some are featured in the book. Others were part of, when the films first came out, there was a Harry Potter fan club that would deliver Daily Prophet newsletters to fan club members. And some of the articles in those newsletters had mentions of Celestina Warbeck in them, and mentioned a title or a lyric. So we kind of had this piecemeal version of some of these songs. And the titles are out of this world, like Beat Back Those Bludgers Boys and Chuck That Quaffle Here. That's a song title. Yeah, so we actually employed two amazing songwriters, Michael Weiner and Alan Zachary. They did a Broadway show called First Date. Two very brilliant guys, and we took them through the entire Wizarding World process and explained everything we knew about Celestina and all the information that we'd received from Warner Brothers and from TDP and from JK herself about who she is. And they went to town in a very small amount of time. I think we had a 3-week turnaround for all 4 of those songs to be created. Not only lyrics, but music in 3 weeks. Yeah, it was a really fast turnaround, but these two guys really nailed it. And the one thing we wanted to make sure is that the songs didn't kind of play to the Wizarding World, that if someone heard them, they sound like they would be songs that could exist anywhere. And not only do they exist in the Wizarding World, but they're great songs first. That was really important in the creation of that music.
Yeah, it was really funny because when we met with Alan and Michael, both self-proclaimed Harry Potter fans, and it was really fun because as soon as they said that, we were like, okay, and we were completely on a shorthand with them. It needs to be this, it needs to be this, it needs to be this, and by the time they left that, the first 3-hour meeting, they already had ideas. They're like, okay, we're going to do this melody, and we're going to do this, and we're going to mix it up with this, and then at the end of that 3-week period, they not only had a fully orchestrated version of all of the music, but also had vocalists from New York having already sung it, and it was not done, but it was done. It was fantastic.
It really came together quickly because it was the last show we actually created for the land. We started concept on that show in February of the same year that the land opened. So it was an incredibly short turnaround.
Meanwhile, the white model that you saw earlier was actually created in October, November, and we had a workshop in December of the year before we opened. So to give you a sense of the timeline.
Very cool. So much information. Thank you so much. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I think if you guys are okay with it, we'll turn it over to the audience and let them throw some questions up our way as well. Julia, yes.
Yes, I have Leah with me from Orlando.
Hi, Leah.
Hi. First of all, thank you for the new one, and I just love being there. I was there for 4 days, just hanging around like you said.
You didn't leave. You were there all night. You slept over.
I wish. I know they have a hotel there because I saw it. I'm a graphic artist, and I would love to be involved in all the creative process and all that you guys do. I follow Mina Lima and Kazu, and I follow the creating of the Diagon Alley with you guys. And what would an artist need to do to be able to work with you guys?
I think you have to identify the particular area you're very interested in. Do you have a particular area of interest?
I like advertising type of thing.
Say again, sorry?
Advertising.
Advertising, okay. So really kind of marketing, advertising, study that world. Maybe become an intern if possible, but try and capture as many influences as you can creatively, because all of us are multidisciplinary designers. We have to look at everything to create the world we create. I look at fashion, graphics, design, art, everything, products, just everything in the world you have to look at with a trained eye to draw in influences. Two chaps here, Michael and Patrick, do the same thing. thing. To create their shows, they have to study the whole world. So for you to focus on that area, I think it's kind of focusing on that kind of realm. Research it. Maybe you can try and apply to be an intern. But any creative work is good work. So don't just pigeonhole yourself in one place. The beauty of the creative world is that it can lead you in many different... It's like the flu network. It can go in any direction. So don't be afraid. If you suddenly find yourself being drawn another way, go for it. I've done the same thing. I never knew I'd be here many years ago. I've suddenly ended up on this stage. I jumped on the Flu Network at some time, and here I am. So just go with it, okay?
I want a T-shirt that says that. I jumped on the Flu Network, and here I am.
And like you said, you were following Kazoo as well, and you heard his story from yesterday. It kind of applies the same here. Anyone that has a drive to position themselves in a certain type of work, you start gathering the information, you start creating an interest and a skill at it, and then you put it out there, and you allow it to let it go where it's going to go, and you'll find where it is that you need to be with a little bit of intention on your own, just as they have done as well. They weren't born in the world of Harry Potter, they just made it.
Well, you bring up a good point, Scott, because the other thing, too, is we all love Harry Potter so much, but that's also not the only thing these teams do.
That's right.
Harry Potter is an aspect of our creative business, so don't be afraid to venture beyond Potter and really invest in some other types of cultures and art that isn't just Potter-related. Because I know we all love Potter so much, but Potter exists because of many different things that have come together to form Harry Potter. So that's really important. It's not really... Don't pigeonhole yourself into just one specific thing.
Good question. All right, Stephen, let's go out to you, sir.
Hi there, gentlemen. I have Paige from Virginia. That's my daughter's name.
Hi, I was wondering if there's anything from the books or the movies that you wish you could bring to life in the parks.
Oh, great question.
Stuart, this is a question we get asked very often. I have to say, it always comes back to the same answer. It has to be the Ministry of Magic. It's an amazing place, which we'd love to see more of. It's the heart of the management of the world of Harry Potter. It's the government, and I think it's a very fascinating place, and I would love to know more about it myself. The parts I've been involved in the films have been fascinating. I know there's many more layers, and I think there could be some amazing adventures to take place there if it ever was realised. And I'm sure you guys would love to create some shows on the back of that.
I think I might want to ride the elevator. I'm just saying, from a personal perspective, as far as the ride is concerned. Michael, if you could get to work on that, that'd be awesome.
Good. I don't do rides, so that's a good thing. I'm not smart enough for the rides.
All right, Erica, anything from that you would like to see from the books?
Well, I mean, being able to produce a storytelling type show using Beetle, that was definitely, that did check a box for us, because it was a concept that existed long before Diagon Alley did here. But man, I would really love to see a really great Wizarding Duel type show with effects, and that would just be really, really cool. I didn't say that's happening yet, but you're talking to Mike the fan. I would love to see something. I would love to see something like that. As a fan, that would just be, that'd blow people's mind. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Working on Beetle the Bard and Celestina and all of the other entertaining things that occurred in Diagon Alley is a bucket list item that you didn't know was on your bucket list until after it's already accomplished. I'm honored to have done all of that stuff, and I think that if I wanted to see something, I would want to see a really, really great, fun, irreverent show about Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Like pitching those products and seeing how outlandish we could get with it and breaking the law of physics. Because that's what you would have to do in a lot of respects.
But within the laws of physics.
But within the laws of physics. Making it look like we're breaking the laws of physics.
It's smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. No, a Wizard Duel would be so awesome. It would be so great.
Great question. Very nice. All right, Aaron, who do you have with you?
I have Susan, who is from California. And Susan has a really cool question for Mike.
All right.
Yeah, Mike, I'm a huge fan of Halloween Horror Nights, and I would like to know what you would do if you were allowed to do what the Halloween Horror Nights in the Wizard World of Harry Potter.
Oh my God!
Wow, you're opening up a door there.
Well, I mean, we already have a little bit of it there now with Nocturne Alley. I mean, that area is just so awesome. I remember seeing that for the first time after it was all done already. I hadn't gone in there yet, and Alan and the creative team, good God, all of the props that are in there. It is just the coolest area to go
place. I love it in there.
But if Potter went into the Horror Nights realm, God, that's a really tough question. Because they're so different. I mean, there's an evil. Honestly, I think Potter, the aspects of the films are even more evil and sinister than the things we do in Horror Nights. I mean, Horror Nights is easy compared to the things that go on in the Harry Potter films and in the books. Obviously, I mean, Dementors are probably the scariest thing I think I've ever seen on screen, and what they do, and you know, Death Eaters everywhere. You know, just a pack and troop of Death Eaters, and we'd never get it with giving them chainsaws. That would never work.
Magical floating chainsaws.
Great
really
question.
Good question. Thank you.
Great question. Rusty. I have Melissa here from Maryland, who is a fan of Celestina and has a question for you.
I'd like to know if Celestina will be releasing additional songs and or a CD.
Wouldn't we all?
Wouldn't we all? The 4 songs she currently sings daily are the songs that currently exist at this time. As far as an album, that's the one thing I see on Twitter all the time. People really want an album of Celestina's music. It's something we can definitely work towards. I know we've had conversations in the past about it, but yeah, she's awesome, and those songs are, you know, they're unlike anything you hear anywhere else. So yeah, it's something I think that a lot of people would really want to see. So all I can say is we'll see if we can work on it. All right.
It's a great general answer. I love it. Yes, Julia.
I have Joey from Clearwater with me.
Hey, Joey.
Hi. I noticed that you both have created the frog choir for Hogsmeade, and you also added the Christmas music. What piece of Tales of Beetle the Bard would you add for the holidays if there was a piece?
Great question. What would you add there?
That's a lot of fun. With the 5 tales that are currently in the book, one of the reasons that we wanted, obviously 3 Brothers was so instrumental in the saga, and with The Fountain of Fair Fortune is JK's favorite story of the 5. Adding something specifically for the holidays, I don't know, but I would love to see, not that it's going to happen, but I would love to see Babbity Rabbity. I would love to see Babbity Rabbity because it's first of all, it's the longest story, and also that it goes so many different places and has so many interesting characters that if we were to put it to puppetry, it would be really amazing, I think. So, yeah.
Very cool. Great question, Joey. All right, who do we have out there next? Where is Steven? Steven?
I am way back
I see you.
here, actually.
Okay.
And I have Morgan with me.
Hey, Morgan.
What's your favorite part that you brought to life out of the Harry Potter series?
Favorite part that you
Pressure's
brought
on
to-
now. This is a difficult question. I think Hogwarts Castle is really special. It's absolutely iconic. I heard recently that it was voted as the #1 theme park castle in the world, which is pretty good accolade for it to get.
That's awesome.
Stuart Craig, when he designed it, really created something very special. He married many amazing castles in England and Scotland together, and it really is a place we all want to go to school in. It's iconic. It's in our hearts. I think it's a very special, and it is, to me, the pinnacle of the worlds of Harry Potter.
Great question. And a great castle. Yes, Aaron.
All right, guys, we have Krista here who lives in Florida.
Hi, Krista.
And she has a question for both Mike and Patrick.
So I am a season pass holder along with my family, and we love to come to Harry Potter. So how do you see Harry Potter's Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade being more dynamic so that every time we come, we get something a little different each time?
Fall asleep and forget you were here, and then wake up and bring it to it as though it's brand new for the very first time. You're welcome. Good night.
I think also it's like how do you come and how do you see it new every time? How do you see something different every time?
Well, one easy way, this is what I do, because I live here, of course we live here, and we've got family, but I bring people that haven't been before, and I see the world and the realm through their eyes. I mean, one of the best things I love about working here now is that I can bring family or friends in that have never been to Hogsmeade, and when you make that turn around the bend and that castle is revealed for the first time, I always walk ahead of my family or friends so I'm on the inside when they walk through, so I can see their reaction to viewing that amazing vista. As far as the entertainment content goes, that's a little difficult because, you know, the content is set. I mean, the script is the script. But the great thing I think about the world of Harry Potter, the Wizarding world, is that there are so many small details in that realm that I think you could come here 1,000 times and not see everything. Because it's so layered, it's so vivid. Unlike anything else we have at Universal Orlando, and frankly, I think anywhere in the world doesn't have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter already. Japan. But I think because it's so layered, you can come back time and time again and see something different. The entertainment content, you know, also we have many performers that perform these shows. So some performers may have a little aspect they'll bring to the character that another performer wouldn't, or that has a different take. So that's another unique aspect, I think.
I think you hit it the nail right on the head, is that take the time to see the small things. My favorite aspect of either Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley, and this is all about Alan right now, my favorite thing in relation to those two lands and those two worlds is not the dragon, but it's the fact that I was standing there one night during rehearsals, and it was in the middle of the night, and they were testing the flames. And I'm standing there, and I'm watching the dragon, and I'm watching it, and the flame goes, and the flame goes, and the flame goes. And then I realized that the small dangle of chain that's right near the jawline of that dragon was moving. It was a chain. It wasn't this solid piece of sculpture that they had attached to the dragon, and that was what it was because of hurricane force winds being in Florida what they are. It wasn't living up to code. That's a piece of chain. That dragon's alive. He just came out of the bank. That was so cool.
We have a colleague named Greg Centers, thank for that chain.
Man, thank you.
I don't know if Greg's here, but he spent many months finding that piece of chain, and we spoke many times about it. That's what the level of detail is. Every little part has to be absolutely perfect.
And so I wish that every time you came to the park, you would explore those small itty-bitty details, whether it's really taking the time one day to just walk the park and look at all of Mina Lima's work, because it's fantastic. Or taking the time to just look at Nocturne, spend a day in Nocturne, and watch other guests experience those wonderful effects inside that small area, and just being in the cold in the middle of a July day for the first time.
Great answers, and a great question as well. Thank you so much. Rusty. Saida here from Mexico with a question for you guys. Hi, Saida.
Hi, guys. Thanks for all your amazing job. Well, my question is, which one is the most difficult challenge for you on the creating of the book parts?
What was the biggest challenge you had creating both parks? Wait, which park was more challenging, or within either of the parks? Okay.
The most difficult.
That's got to be a tough one to answer. But what was the most challenging for you?
Living up to the amazing story, living up to the saga, living up to, and making sure that I paid homage to what has already been created. If I had one accomplishment, I would say that I and Mike together, we have the distinction of being the only people on the planet that have named characters outside the saga. And that's a mind-blowing thing for me. That I was able to create 4 characters out there and give them stage names, and that they now exist, non-canon, but they still exist in the Wizarding world. The most difficult thing is that show that those characters are on had 24 3/4 drafts. Scripts. Yeah. Different scripts. It started as one thing in 24 3/4 scripts, and it actually is 24 3/4. By the time we got to that last one, it was a completely different show.
I think, too, one aspect that's I think the most challenging part of creating within the Wizarding world, be it entertainment or anything in the realm, is the theme park realm lives in kind of this middle area where you have the books that are, that is the canon. You have the films that provided the visual tone for those books. And then you have the theme park, which has to do kind of both, but at the same time, it has to be 365, has to be 360 degrees. We're not blessed with the idea that the camera can face one direction, or that a guest watching a show is only going to pay attention to one character. They're going to look at everything. So that is this kind of middle realm that the theme park has to live in and collaborate with both of those entities, the books and the films, to come out in the end with something that pays homage to both. That is, I think, one of the most challenging aspects.
The challenge for me is just translating the film sets to a real place, because, like Michael mentioned, we have the luxury in a film set of pointing the camera in one direction and you can hide all the stuff you don't want to see. We don't have that luxury here, so I have to say that the teams here rose immeasurably to provide abilities to solve every problem. The Eric Baker's team here over on the left, the prop team who do all the window detailing, all the props, to the construction and engineering teams. Really just making the place feel real, that's the challenge, because it's all one huge challenge for all of us. We had meetings weeks before the opening developing the entertainment shows. You guys were under crazy pressure to get these things ready. It's a challenge we all love, though. We look back on it and want to do it again, because it's probably the biggest buzz you're ever going to have, is creating these worlds. They're the hardest thing you've ever done. It's way beyond college exams. It's beyond anything I've ever done before. I've had a few extra grey hairs from Harry Potter, thank you. But I'm looking forward to a few more at some point, because I do love the challenge to work with you guys and to solve these problems. So there is no one small challenge. It's a million, but they're all equally worth solving.
Very cool. Great question. We've got time for two more. Julia?
Great. I have Joey from Orlando, and he has a fun question for you.
While designing the Wizarding World, did you guys have like any favorite moments, or like were there like funny moments that happened, like bloopers during the construction?
I don't think you guys have fun at all.
No, everything we do is perfection. We never get anything wrong, so there are no bloopers. We're not going to tell you about them, but we have many challenges, and there are moments when we have something happens. I can't really quantify them in exact detail, but I think we all face moments where we suddenly realize we're going slightly the wrong direction. You have to quietly kind of backtrack and try and look like you're very professional and know what you're doing. So we've all become quite good at that. I don't know if that's a good answer, but there are bloopers, but we can't really share them as such.
Yeah, we pretty much do you can't speak about this beyond the walls that we're currently in.
What happens in the Wizarding World, you know the rest. Exactly. All right, we've got time for one more question. Stephen?
Actually, I have Brian Gryffindor here, all the way from Mexico.
All right.
Hi, I don't have a question. I just want to say thank you for helping creating Diagon Alley, and it's really cool being able to live and see Diagon Alley, and just thank you for everything, you know.
Well, so we thank you all for coming, because you're the reason we're here.
Yeah.
And one thing to really on that, we represent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that put their time, their blood, their sweat into this. And so we're up here, we're the guys that get to talk about it, but there are so many people involved with how this place evolved into what it is. And please give those people a huge, huge round of applause.
Well, certainly. And Aaron, final question.
Awesome. It's a really good one, really nice and tasty for the panel. We have Charlotte, who is a local.
Hi, I was just hoping you guys could talk a little about the creation of the ice cream flavors.
Ice cream.
We've eaten a lot of it.
Yes, we have. I had to eat a lot of ice cream over the last couple of years, and I have to say that was not a bad thing. But we worked very closely with the food teams here in University of Orlando, who are absolute geniuses at food creation. We've tried hundreds of flavors, and we boiled it down with J.K. Rowling and all the Warner Brothers folk and the people in J.K. Rowling's teams. Those flavors you have right now. Butterbeer is amazing. Personally, I like apple crumble. That's my favorite. So I've had two the last 2 nights. I'm sure you all have a favorite each, but ice creams are very important.
We had nothing to do with the ice cream, but when we were in rehearsals for the shows near the end, and they started actually having to do like mock service, we would just wait off to the side. But we were watching the cast rehearse. We're also eyeing the door. So when it opens up, we knew we could go inside and get something, and come back and rehearse the show.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult when you're in the middle of rehearsal to go, there you guys are doing great. Cloudy cream.
So what's your favorite?
Earl Grey and lavender?
Yeah. Good choice, good choice.
Very nice, very nice. Well, gentlemen, I know we could stand up here and talk into the wee hours of the morning, but there's a lot
way past the Super Bowl. We could be here.
Yeah, that's true.
To see that, right?
We'll just hold off and have some conversations backstage until that time has come and gone. How about a big round of applause for Alan, Michael, and Patrick? Thank Thank you, gentlemen, so much. We appreciate your time and all the effort that you put into this amazing design and the talent and everything that has gone into creating a reality for all these fans of the Harry Potter series and the franchise. And good luck with the future endeavors that we cannot talk about.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks,
Let's give Mike a round of
guys.
applause.